Coming out of the experience of last night, as it was developing, a lot of people, I think rightfully thought, okay, clearly we need reform to the system. We need to make it easier to vote and for our elections to run smoothly. Not everyone had that same sort of reaction. Here's a bit of Ben Shapiro believing that it is still far too easy for people to vote.
The basic idea that you should be able to have a basic, not, as you say, fake poll test, literacy test designed to exclude black people or something. The idea that you'd have to have like a basic knowledge of America's Constitution, for example, to vote. I don't see that as a horrible idea. I really don't. I mean, it seems to me that having people, the system that we have right now, which is you pick up a bunch of people at a bus stop and you bring them to a voting place, which is really what's happening in a lot of local elections, particularly, that is somehow beneficial to democracy, I find bizarre. It's one of the reasons why I think that the notion that you should be able to vote online, that making voting easier is deeply important. I don't agree with that. I mean, I think that you should actually have to jump through the hoop of having to take the time and effort to vote. Because if you're not willing to do that, then why should I take your vote as seriously as somebody who is willing to take voting seriously?
Yeah. It's too easy. I mean, you could just bus people there and like a citizen can then cast a vote after someone else drove them. Why should you be allowed to vote unless you have like a driver's license, your own car? He almost said literacy test in a positive sense, then corrected himself because he realized that was a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah, but then he kind of goes on to argue for just literacy tests in a different form. Ben Shapiro is just one of the most like insidious political commentators. He's made his career out of doing like windmill dunks on like college freshmen as a guy with a law degree. Just likes to punch down and pick on people who aren't as educated to make himself feel better, feel smarter, whatever. And he's kind of conned a lot of people into thinking he's some boy intelligentsia. This is kind of just a weak argument and has like roots in racism, which when you look at Ben Shapiro's past writing for Breitbart, not too surprising. It's a site that had a black crime tag on stories, black on black crime tag on stories. He's criticized just rap, which clearly had, if you read his writing, clearly had racial animus intertwined in his writing. The guy is just terribly racist. And even if the bus stop example, that he chose that instead of what we all know happens all the time at nursing homes where they just bus senior citizens to the polls. Notice that wasn't his example. Yeah. And why is that? Like, who takes buses more than who lives, the older upper crust white population that overwhelmingly votes isn't a problem, but it's bus stops. That's really the problem. It really speaks to how Ben sees that scenario.
Yeah, there is a war on democracy, and in this and in only this, he is an enthusiastic soldier. Jordan Ewell, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
John, thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching The Damage Report. What if you could protect yourself on the internet for the price of a cup of coffee a month? Well, if you head to nordvpn.com/TYT, you'll be able to connect up to 6 devices to NordVPN's military-grade encryption for $349 a month. If you go now, they'll even throw in a month for free. Go now.